Thank you. First of all, I'm coming from the ancestral lands of the Lenape people in New York with Senator Gillibrand. Thank you, Senator Gillibrand, for your leadership on this. Congresswoman Dean, thank you. Congressman Kildee, thank you for your leadership. It's so important, and it's really making a big needed change. Lorene, Joanne, and Tony, I can't tell you how moved I am to hear these stories, and how sad it makes me that you're not able to live your lives um, in peace and health because of these issues that have been happening for decades now. Uh, Tony talked a little bit about the laws making it impossible to find any kind of accountability, and that what DuPont and 3M has spent the last few decades doing, instead of actually making sure that we were safe, they used every single trick they could to change the laws to make sure that they were never held accountable. And that's why we're here today. So I strongly support the PFAS Accountability Act, which will ensure that people who have been harmed by PFAS exposure are finally able to receive justice. I'm honored to be here with my friend and one of the few real life heroes, superheroes that I've ever known, Rob Balott. As you guys know, I played Rob in the movie Dark Waters, which is a story of a company knowingly discharging toxic PFAS into the air and water of Parkersburg, West Virginia. Thanks to Rob, and only Rob, the people who were exposed to PFAS in Parkersburg were able to receive medical monitoring, and many have been able to receive justice for the harms caused by their neighbor DuPont only through medical monitoring. And what's more, and what's so important about medical monitoring, is the data that we could collect from the people as a result from that settlement, from the settlement Rob made with DuPont, provides the foundation of much of what we know today about the health effects of PFAS and how we can deal with it in the future. But the people in Parkersburg are not the only people who are being exposed without their consent to PFAS. I mean, millions of Americans across the nation, but specifically today in Hoosick Falls, New York, in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, in Parchment, Michigan, in Decatur, Alabama, are being poisoned by their corporate neighbors, knowing that this does this damage, knowing that there is no way for their neighbors to find justice or to be compensated for their harm. In fact, all of us are being exposed to PFAS. We're drinking it in our water. We're eating it in PFAS. We're eating PFAS in our foods today. And we're all taking part of a massive laboratory experiment without our consent. And why? Because the thousands of companies that make PFAS or use PFAS have no incentive to keep us safe. They are safe from us. And that's about to change. Thanks to PFAS, the PFAS Accountability Act, everyone who has been substantially exposed to PFAS will be able to seek justice regardless of where they live, who they are, what color skin they have, and who they love. Now, after making Dark Waters, here's what's still amazing to me. It's not that DuPont and 3M have known since the 1950s that PFAS could build up in our blood. It's not that by the 1960s they knew that PFAS could be toxic. It's not by the 1970s that they knew PFAS was harming their own workers. And it's not by the 1980s DuPont and 3M knew that PFAS was contaminating the tap water of nearby communities. What's amazing to me is that right now, as we are sitting here today at this event, thousands of companies are still discharging PFAS into the air and water. It's a shame. The PFAS Accountability Act will give PFAS victims their day in court. But that's not all. The PFAS Accountability Act will make these polluters think twice before they treat all of us like test subjects in a chemistry experiment where they already know the outcome is our illness and death. So thank you, Senator Gillibrand, Congresswoman Dean, and Congressman Kildee for your leadership. And thank you for all of the community organizers who've pushed so hard and have cried into the night and darkness and brought us to the point where we understand what we're facing today. I express my deepest grief for your loss and for the hardship that you've had to carry and this burden that needs to be taken off of your shoulders by a law like this. So thank you. I want to next introduce Rob Balot, who is just an amazing man who's dedicated his life to this issue, to the people and communities who are struggling with this issue. And I'm honored to hear him speak and to be here with him today. And to all of you, thank you.